Hello friends, welcome to part 2 of Some Dude Talks About Porsche Options for an hour and a half. That's right, we're going to continue where we left off, but first of all I wanted to talk about what changes are coming up in the 911 for the 2021 model year and some additional details that I didn't cover in the first video or questions that people asked. But first I want to reiterate, this is just an opinions video based on my experience. Do what you like. I don't know why I do these videos, because every time I do one, I release it and the next day, I'm just drowning in a tidal wave of hate mail. Yes, Nick, I'm getting the big silly spoiler and the lights on the door and you said it wasn't good and you don't know what you're talking about. Yes, it's true. I don't know what I'm talking about. Just do whatever you like. It's your car, your money. Buy whatever you like. I'm just giving you my opinion. Build the Homer Simpson car of your dreams. It would be terrible if everybody just did exactly what I said. The whole world would just be Nick Murray and nobody wants that. So do what you like. I'm just giving you my opinions. You don't have to take them. Anyway, first thing we're going to do, talk about the 2021 model year, what changes are coming up. And there are a bunch of changes. The first one being colors. As I said in the previous video, Python green is coming. Yay, another green. But this is going to be sad for a lot of you. Miami blue is dead. Yes, I am not surprised. I was kind of surprised to see Miami blue last as long as it has. And the reason for that is I get a lot of complaints about this color. That is from owners that have purchased it, that live in very sunny, warm places, seem to have a lot of fading and discoloration issues with Miami blue. So maybe that is why Porsche is finally taking this color off the range, because it is, I think, a problematic color. And a reason for you guys to watch out for in the second-hand market. Miami blue, take a close look in any car with Miami blue, because certainly seems to be a suspicious number of people have problems with this color. What's it being replaced with? A color called shark blue. What color is that? Who knows? You can Google shark blue. The thing about it is that there have been previous shark blues and maybe it'll be that color, but we don't know until Porsche actually produces a car and we'll see. Likely to be another light blue. Very cool. Other changes, Porsche is now adding, in North America at least, comfort access. That's where you can open the door without bleeping the button on the key. It's standard for no extra cost. They're also changing ambient lighting to incorporate the 7 color schemes like in other Porsche vehicles. That's pretty cool. They're upgrading the front axle lift to include the GPS linked function. That is, if you're going below 20 miles an hour and you reach somewhere where you always press the front axle lift, it'll do it itself automatically based on GPS coordinates. It's a nice change. They're going to add tyre temperature display to any car that has the Sport Chrono package. That's a cool upgrade. Porsche Inno Drive is going to be added to the lane keep function. Lane keep, as you'll see later in this video, it's a bit of a nonsense option, so I'm not sure anyone's going to care about that option. There's going to be a new lightweight glass option. There's a new 930 leather package, which is cool. It includes a bunch of door and seat stitching that you don't see in the other leather packages. It's standard in the Turbo S. I will probably do a separate video on that, but yeah, it's nice to see some extra leather options coming in. And for the rear-wheel drive cars, the option for the 24-gallon tank, which is an extra 50% extra range on the car, is finally becoming available in the US. It's been available elsewhere for a while now. Just another reason to get a rear-wheel drive model 911. You can get 450 miles out of the tank. That's pretty cool. Other little changes. Alcantara is dead. Maybe my influence is starting to pay off. Yes, they're getting rid of Alcantara. They're switching to a new supplier, and the new supplier it's a similar product, but it's called Race Tech now. It's been available on some of the other models. Goodbye Alcantara, you will not be missed. The little lip on the back seats that hold things in place is being removed entirely. People found that annoying, so that's gone. And there is a shit ton of Porsche exclusive options that we've been missing up to this point. I won't read them all out, but some of the highlights are the fuel cap in aluminium. Oh, how we've missed you, silly fuel cap. The interior mirror can be in leather. There's a bunch of other leather options, floor mats and dashboard and panel and switchgear. Air vents at last. We can get air vents in leather again, thank goodness. And my favorite, steering column in leather, finally back again. There's a new stone guard on the rear fenders and pedals in aluminium. So lots of options that were available in the 991, now available in the 992. And one last big change for those of us in North America is the package deal is completely changing. Well, not completely changing, we're swapping half of it out, putting other stuff in. We're losing the comfort access, obviously, out of this package because it's now standard. Losing lane keep assist because that's nonsense. And sadly, we're losing active cruise control. I really liked having it in the premium package because that's a great safety feature. What are we getting instead? We're getting power folding mirrors, surround view, lane change assist, ambient lighting, and storage package. Why is storage package there? Storage package is a free option. We're not getting a discount on that. I think they're just, oh, now there's eight things in the package. So yeah, some good, some bad. I don't care about power folding mirrors and I don't care about surround view, but I like lane change assist. I think a lot of people would get that. And ambient lighting, that's always a good one as well. So still the same price, still 25% discount. Okay, before we get on to the main event, I wanted to cover a few things from the part 1 video. The first one is the steel sunroof. It was in this red car that I had for the last video. Now, I'm never sure why anyone gets a steel sunroof because you might as well just get no sunroof. I don't know that anyone ever just opens a sunroof. A sunroof, to me, is for the glass, but whatever. And somebody wrote to me and said, how come you don't get the shade button on the steel sunroof? Well, of course, it's not glass, so you don't need the shade. That's why you don't get it. So the button configuration in the steel roof is the same. And some people like the steel roof because it continues the color across the roof. I don't know. And a couple of people wrote to me and said, can I show the mirror folding? So here it is. Here's the mirror folding. And a bit more detail on the decals. People wrote to me and asked whether the decals were underneath the clear coat or on top. The decals are on top. So the decals can be taken off or put on at any time. They're $500–600. So you could actually do the decals a lot cheaper yourself if you're not sure. Just have them put on afterwards, or you could take them off anytime. Yeah, they're just a sticker on top of the clear coat. And finally, the clear lights. A couple of people asked me about that. Here's the clear lights also on that Guards Red car. It does look pretty cool, yeah, particularly if you don't like if the red really clashes with the outside color. The clear lights are a nice touch. Okay, let's get back to the main list, and we're going to start with lights and vision. And at the top here, we've got the PDLS, very popular option, although $1,270, because it's not that expensive, seems to give you a lot. But I have my doubts whether anyone actually needs this. What are the features? The dynamic cornering lights. These do work when you're turning at night. It turns the lights a little bit like an old Citroen. Does anyone need that? Probably not, but it does kind of work. It's nice. The speed-dependent headlight range control, once again, yeah, just raises the headlights a little bit more as you're going faster. Quite nice, I guess. Sport mode, that's a nonsense thing. It just moves the headlights more when you're in sport mode. And high beam assist, which is a bit of a sometimes works, sometimes doesn't option. Yeah, you have cars coming towards you flashing the lights because your silly high beam assist hasn't dipped the lights automatically. Very annoying. Can I live without PDLS in my 911? Totally. The bright lights are so awesome even without this option. It's really, if you're on the fence, you really don't need this option. And you certainly don't need the next option, which is the $3,270 matrix design. If you jump in here, you'll find that it does exactly the same thing as the previous option, except you get the disclaimer at the bottom. These are for the North America customers or the US customers. Full LED matrix functionality, not work, blah, 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 blah. The reason for this is because the federal laws prevent you from having multiple lights at the front. So they just, instead of having the 84 separate LEDs which do the fancy stuff, they've just bunched them all together and downgrade the power so that it works just like the LED lights. So this option in the US at least is a complete waste of money. Elsewhere, it's okay. This is the thing, the standard LEDs are so bright and have such great coverage that this is a slight improvement, but at the end of the day, Porsche has to still stick within the local country's laws about how bright headlights are. So often, this option is no brighter than the other options. It's just more expensive. Do you do a lot of back road driving at night? The standard LEDs are still going to be awesome. I don't know that anyone really needs this silly option, particularly if you're here in the US. And the next one, $800 more, just gives it a darker surround. So silly. Here's clear tail lights, as we talked about before. And yes, very nice clear tail lights. If you want to get rid of the red tint in your light, pretty cool. And then finally in lights and vision, rear wiper, my favorite option. I know everyone loves to hate the rear wiper. particularly here in the US, where there was never really the hatchback revolution that the rest of the world had. So everybody else is used to seeing wipers on the back of cars, but people in the US find it highly offensive. Interesting thing about the rear wiper is two things. Firstly, it's standard in some countries. That's right. In some countries, you have to have the rear wiper, believe it or not. But here in the US, it's very rarely seen. I still think it's the classic look I will definitely put on my car because I like to see out the back of my car when it's snowing and raining. But yeah, a lot of people think that it ruins the look, the clean look of the back of the car. Looks like something waving around the back. They don't like that, so it's very rarely seen here in the US, but I like the rear wiper. The only other thing to know about the rear wiper is that it does not include the squirt function. The window has to be wet for it to work. It doesn't have a little squirter in it. Some people are shocked by that. So that's a rear wiper. No one will get it except for me. That's fine. Next is surround view, $1,430. Quite a popular option because people don't want to damage their precious expensive 911, and I can totally understand that. However, keep in mind the Porsche 911 does come with complete surround radar and backing camera, which for most people is more than enough to safely park. But if you want to be sure, the surround view function, 360 bird's eye view of the car, does work very, very well. It does give you a lot more confidence in parking. I don't even need it myself, but people do love that option. Next one is lane keep assist. I'm a bit down on this option. $1,220. Tell you why I'm down on this option, because it doesn't seem to ever work in the 911. Let me demonstrate. Okay, lane keep assist. Hopefully it's going to keep us in this lane. We're going to go around. And you're driving along, and what it's meant to do is meant to be if you are slightly distracted or you're having a nap while you're driving, it will keep you in the lane. But in the 911, for some reason, it allows you to wander almost half a lane across before it corrects you. I don't know why. I don't know how safe this feature is. If there was an 18-wheeler beside me as I allowed it to keep me in the lane, frankly, William and I would be dead. So I think this is a waste of money, this option, and I'm glad to see that it's disappeared from the premium pack. Don't get this option. It's nonsense. Next is adaptive cruise control. I'm a huge fan of this option. I would definitely get this option if I was getting PDK. It is not available with the manual transmission, as you know. Why do I like this option? Well, active cruise control in itself is pretty cool, and this is a 4th generation active cruise control. Works a lot better than the previous. It understands a lot more about what's going on in the traffic around you, and so you can set a timed distance between you and the car in front of you. That is, as the car in front of you speeds up, the distance between you will increase to keep you safe, and it just, if you're doing long journeys, this really takes the stress off. It does all the accelerator and braking for you. It's beautiful, and it reacts so quickly. It understands about cars merging in front of you and so forth. It is a pretty cool feature. However, what I really love about it is it includes the Porsche Active Safe. This is an option that warns you when you are about to rear end somebody. And you can set it to all sorts of different distances. And in this demonstration here, I've got it set to the minimum distance, but it still warns me and preloads the brakes so that, hey, you're going to hit that car in front of you, throws up a warning message, and when you hit the brakes, you'll feel that they're already starting to brake and they're super hard and you brake very quickly. In these days of distracted driving, I love this feature. Yeah, I think everybody should have this a lot more. There would be far fewer accidents if everyone had this feature. So yes, active cruise control and Porsche Active Safe, very cool features. Unfortunately, gone up in price, $2,000. Other manufacturers throw this in for free or only charge $300. Porsche, this is such an important safety feature. Bring the price of this down so more people get it. Night vision assist, $2,540. I'm in two minds about this option. It uses thermal infrared sensors at the front of the car to show you things that you can't see with your own eyes at night. However, it's displayed on the little right-hand screen, and I find this feature works best when combined with the head-up display. But guess what? There is still no head-up display in the Porsche 911. And frankly, I don't think people are going to be driving at night looking down at that silly little screen. No, I don't think this is a worthwhile option, really. It is a cool gimmick, but once again, it's best when the details of what it sees are thrown up on the head-up display so you can more readily interpret what it's trying to tell you. gimmick. Lane change assist. As you'd expect, this is the little lights in the mirror. It used to be inside the car in the 991, which I really liked. Now on the mirror, still it works, and you can change the brightness of the lights and so forth and the sensitivity. Yeah, works fine. As you can see, as a car comes up behind you in your blind spot, warns you that you shouldn't move into that lane. We've all had it in the car, I'm sure. It should be standard equipment. Why they're charging $1,000? So annoying. And comfort access, $550. As I said at the beginning of the video, don't pay for this. It's about to become free across the range in a couple of weeks' time, as it should be. Okay, onto the interior. We're making some progress. First up is the ionizer, which I guess is another level of filtration for those of you that live in smoggy cities. Does it work? Who knows? Who knows? Never used it, don't know much about it. On to the next thing. Light design package. As I said earlier, this is going to be changed to ambient lighting shortly. Same price, slightly different function. It's going to get the colourful options that you see in the SUVs and the Panamera at the moment. A nice upgrade, and as I said, part of the premium package if you live in the US. For the 911, they are poorly lit anyway, so I do always encourage people to get this if you're going to be driving the car at night a lot, because it significantly increases the number of lights around the car. So if you lose something down in the footwell or whatever, it's very hard to see without the light design package. It is a nice bump in lighting, and now you can disco light it as well. Seat ventilation, as I mentioned earlier, it is a very popular option. It sucks the air down the seat. You can hear the sound of the fan when you're driving slowly, but it's not that annoying. It does a very good job of sucking away the heat off your body, especially if you're a bit of a sweaty individual like me. However, it does come as a cost, as I mentioned before. It does make the seats firmer. If you want the most comfortable seat, skip this option. The only other issue about seat ventilation, it's not available in some of the fabrics. Steering wheel heating. Let's talk about steering wheel heating, multifunction GT steering wheel, and heated multifunction steering wheel all at once. So steering wheel heating is pretty straightforward. It's just the heating of the steering wheel. We live in a day and age where this is almost a must. I don't know why we're such pampered softies these days, but yeah, if you live in a cold climate like here in Connecticut during the winter, touching the steering wheel without heated steering, you don't want to do that. Pay the $280 and get a nice hot steering wheel. The difference between the standard wheel and the GT Sport wheel used to be the size of the wheel. Now it's thickness of the wheel, and there's some little features around little screws and bolts. But generally, it's people are either they like a thinner, firmer wheel, or they like a bigger, fatter wheel. I am a bigger, fatter wheel kind of guy, so I'd really like to get the GT Sport steering wheel. Most dealerships will have both these steering wheels, so make a note to yourself if you're going into the dealership to put your hands around both the GT steering wheel and the standard steering wheel to get a feel, because definitely people have a preference one way or the other. One is not better than the other, it's just personal preference. You know, I like a thick wheel. Storage package. Strangely, this was all the go years ago. Now it's become the fashion not to have this silly storage package. Let me be clear. It can't hold anything. It is a pointless option. People get it because it's free. These days, the fashion within the 911 range is not to get this. You'll see this removed in a lot of showroom cars these days because people consider it an untidy looking thing. Certainly not functional. It can hold a couple of pens at best in an awkward spot that you can't get to anyway. So I personally, if you're undecided on this free option, don't get it. But then if you want to get the maximum amount of free things, it's a popular option to get. Next is the interior trim painted in exterior color. This is the COVID-19 of Porsche options. I tell you, this option has ruined more Porsche 911s than any other option out there. What is it? It is taking the normal interior trim, replacing it with a piece of plastic with the exterior color painted on it. And I understand, sometimes this can maybe look effective on the configurator, bringing the exterior color into the car, but it never seems to actually work out. I don't know, I think it's people that look at their car and go, oh, I've got a yellow car, I need to have yellow bits inside, or I've got a blue car, I'm going to have blue bits inside. And I think in the history of automotive interior design, painted interiors have never worked. And historically, there have been a lot of cars that have done this. If you look back at the original Volkswagen Beetle, that had painted interiors, and the Fiat 500, that had painted interiors. Lots of older cars, budget cars, had painted interiors. In the more modern age, the PT Cruiser had the painted interior. What a terrible car that was. And really, it's just now Porsche 911s and other Porsches that people seem to still get fooled into getting this option. The worst option that you can get for the interior. Just think long and hard before picking this option. Don't just blunder into this going, oh, I've got a bright colored exterior, I really need to bring that into the interior. If you need to do that, do it another way. Bring the exterior color in through stitching or through leather or some other way. The painted option just is cheap, plasticky, and looks awful. And next is another silver-like interior upgrade, which doesn't actually finish the trim, just changes the outside of the trim to a lighter silver. And since we're talking about interior trims, I wanted to bring your attention to the fact that the base interior trim looks a little carbon fibery and is so nice. It's such a big upgrade, so much better than the horrible light silver standard trim that was in the 991 generation. So even if you get no special trim, I think the interior of these cars still looks very upmarket. However, that said, I'd like to point out that there are some small gap issues with a lot of the trims in the 992 that I'm hoping that they'll improve over time. And certainly the standard trims and some of the harder trims, if you look around down here, you'll see panel gaps that, I don't know, most people they may not notice it, but to me, it really bugs me. It really bugs me because particularly with the standard trim and the carbon fiber trim and the painted trim, you see this so easily. It's far less noticeable on the wood trim and the leather trim. In fact, with the leather trim, it completely disappears altogether. You don't get the panel gap. So originally I was thinking I'll just get the standard interior, but because these gaps around here irritate me so much, I certainly go for the leather trim. But yes, this trim option is just a lighter trim around the edge to give the car a little more contrast. Looks very effective. Next, vehicle keys painted, including one leather pouch. This strangely popular option, particularly if you've got a lighter coloured car. I've got nothing more to say about that. Fire extinguisher, $180. This is really, you're paying for the mounting of the fire extinguisher in the passenger, just in front of the passenger's legs. It was very popular on the track type cars, not so popular on the rest of the 911 range. You can buy a $30 fire extinguisher, would be the same. And then a bunch of seatbelt options. Once again, just bringing color to the interior. Also very popular, $540. You can do this afterwards, but it costs more than $2,000. So if you want colored seatbelts, the only downsides to color seatbelts is they do mark, particularly someone like myself who dribbles a lot of burger juice down the front of them while they're driving. I notice that when I've had lighter seatbelts, it's very hard to get those marks out. But yes, colored seatbelts are a great way to give some contrast to the interior of a car. Just be careful about the color combinations you choose. You know, if you've got a red interior and you're going yellow belts, you know, people are going to associate that a little bit with McDonald's. Yeah, just have somebody that is maybe a little fashion conscious. Double check your configuration before you go crazy with the colors. Don't put green with red, that type of thing. But yes, seatbelts, fun way to lift the colors. The only other warning I'll give you is sometimes the darker colors, like the seatbelts in truffle brown, for example, they basically look black. No one will ever notice that you've got this color. So steer clear of the darker color seatbelts. They're a complete waste. I made that mistake in a previous car. Wasted $500. Okay, down to the tachometer with the dial in white and the sport chrono with different colors. Now, this is a huge improvement, I think, on the previous dials, which really looked plasticky and nasty when you change the colors. Now it's just a little strip of color. Such a big improvement. So once again, if you're looking to bring a bit of contrast color into your interior, this is a nice way to do it, and this looks so much better than the 991 generation where they had the whole dial painted that color. It made it very hard to read, looked cheap and nasty. On the 992, it's so much classier. I approve of adding these little things, once again, as long as you're not going crazy. Like, like this car where they had green dials and blue interior, and just, you know, if you turned it into a circus freak, no one's going to buy it after you've finished with it. So be careful. Try and keep it classy, San Diego. You know, don't go too crazy with these colors. But yeah, once again, the new dial colors do work a lot better now that it's just a little ring. I think it looks a lot classier. And finally, the smoking package for free, which adds an ashtray to where the cup holder is. So ridiculous. Even though it's free, don't get this. Doesn't give you anything else. Okay, onto interior leather. And as I mentioned before, interior trim in leather, which changes out this trim around the edges here and just changes it to the lighter trim with leather over the top here, is a very nice option. And what I love about it is, as I said, it reduces all those little tiny panel gaps that irritate me so much. I think most people will never notice. It's just those that are a bit OCD like me with those panel gaps would drive you crazy. So yeah, I really love the interior trim in leather for that reason alone. It does look classy, but it also, yeah, tidies up the interior. And then a bunch of ridiculous options: air vent, surrounds, $2,000, and you can actually get these color coded if you want. And then deviated floor mats with leather edging, $600. You know, floor mats are one of those things that you want to swap out every year or two to refresh the interior of your car, keep it looking brand new. So I'm not sure that spending $650 on a bit of leather edging for your floor mats is a good investment, but whatever. Fuse box cover in leather, $400. People actually do this. It's crazy. Center console lid with Porsche crest and center console lid with model designation. In the 991, it actually upgraded the leather and made it a little softer. I don't know whether that's true in this model, but it is a cool feature. Do not do the leather console with Porsche crest if you're also putting the crest on the seats. It just looks stupid. So yeah, if you want to put something on your center console, yeah, do the model designation. That's quite cool. I've done it in some of my cars. No one ever notices. It's not a big deal. And then the Porsche crest on headrests. This is a historical feature. People love to do this because it fits with the history of the car, having that on the headrest. So it's very popular, $390. Once again, no one ever notices, but if you want to just finish the car perfectly, the Porsche crest on the headrest is a nice touch. Air vent surrounds, leather, yes, painted. Don't do this one either. Just like the painted interior, this just adds more painted plastic nastiness. $2,000 to bring your car down to worth $50,000. Just no, this is just, oh, so bad. And now sun visors in leather, a recent addition. Just if you don't like the plasticky bits off, but yeah, it's a nice finishing touch. Totally not necessary though. Inner door sill guards in leather, $800. Adding the leather around the lower door guards. It does mark a lot easier than the standard plastic does down there. But once again, if you need leather absolutely everywhere you're likely to touch, this is the way to go. Sports seat back shells in leather inlay, with leather inlay. And there's a whole bunch of others. I'm not going to go through them all. But these $2,000 options or $2,500 options are a little crazy because no one ever notices. No one's ever sitting in the back seat of these cars. So you have to actually put the seat forward in order to see these. So I think these are kind of a waste. Certainly if you're getting the 14-way seats or the sports seats, they are completely covered anyway. This is for if you're getting the Sports Seat Plus or the 18-way seats. The back shells are plastic. And I found that you could do this third party, same thing for about $600 afterwards if you want. But yeah, if you want to have the back of your seats covered in leather or leather with an inlay, or the wood inlay, or with the painted inlay, or the matte carbon fiber inlay, then yes, spend all this money to get the back of the seats, which no one's ever going to notice, covered. Nonsense. Vehicle keys in leather, including one leather key pouch. Yeah, this is pretty cool, but expensive. It's a key. Take it easy. And $560 for the owner manual wallet in leather. Yeah, if you've got more money than sense, this is definitely an option for you. Okay, interior Alcantara. So the good news here is that this is going away. Alcantara is no longer a supplier to Porsche, so within the next few weeks, Alcantara will be gone. Maybe, maybe the Nick Murray hatred on Alcantara worked after all, but yes, you'll notice that it's now called Race Tech, which is a different product, very similar, but a different product. It is from a different supplier, so Alcantara is a thing of the past for the Porsche 911, thankfully. But yes, you'll also notice that roof lining in Alcantara used to be standard in the Porsche 911. Now it's an option, in some models at least. And yeah, if you're going to put Alcantara somewhere, I do like it on the roof. The roof does reduce the noise ever so slightly. It's probably the most suitable place for Alcantara because you never touch it. It looks fine up there. Sun visors and all the other places, multifunction steering wheel on Alcantara. I've done a whole video on this, and people love to hate me for this stuff, but really my problem with Alcantara is that it does not last anywhere near as well as leather does. So people like the feel of it, but what happens of course is the oil from your hands mats down the Alcantara, and so you either leave it matted down and then it's a really nasty hard feeling, or you wash it with very light soapy water and get that oily stuff out of there and it comes back to new. But you don't want to do that too often because it does wear down the fibers of the Alcantara and then it starts going bald. It's just, to me, it has a place in race cars because it's lighter and it's fire retardant and it's got a little more grip. But in a street car that you're driving most days, on the steering wheel, on the shifter knob, it doesn't pan out long term in my experience. But people seem to love Alcantara, so if you love it, go ahead. Multifunction steering wheel in Alcantara, $800. Yeah, it's just be warned. It doesn't wear well, Alcantara, that's for sure. And then the center console lid in Alcantara with Porsche logo. Now, this is an odd one as well, because what I've seen a lot of people do is get leather and then the center console lid in Alcantara because that's where their elbow rests. And it looks odd to have this mix of materials in the car. So just be completely sure that you want this option before ticking it, because people get this and the Alcantara steering wheel and the rest of it's leather, and it's just an odd mismatch of materials in the car that just doesn't work in my view, and I think in a lot of other views. So just be careful about Alcantara options. Anyway, Alcantara's gone. Goodbye, Alcantara. We will not miss you. Come on in, Race Tech or whatever you're called. Similar product, hopefully wears a little bit better than Alcantara does. Onto interior wood, and as you know, in the 991 I was a bit down on interior wood. It didn't quite look right, even though there was wood in the original Porsche 911, 50 years ago. However, I really love the latest version of this. It does look very classy, and thankfully it's not on the steering wheel, which I think makes it look like a ship. But yes, the wood option with the right interior, with a darker interior, looks perfect. I would consider getting this. It does match very well if you get the darker brown interior as well, and you get the lovely mix of materials there. If you like a bit of wood in your interior, this does look very upmarket. And onto carbon fiber, interior trim in matte carbon fiber. I am so happy to see an improvement in the quality of the carbon fiber. The carbon fiber that came in the 991 generation was garbage. I know everybody loved it, but it was just black resin cheapness. It just pretended to look upmarket when it was just hard plasticky resin nastiness, whereas this is genuine, beautiful looking carbon fiber. It really lifts the interior look. I'm so pleased they've improved this product. I'm totally behind people getting carbon fiber now because I really think this is an upmarket product. It does suffer from the little edge gaps around down here like the base interior does. And then you have the multifunction steering wheel with trim and matte carbon fiber. Once again, a big improvement. Instead of putting the carbon fiber on the wheel where you could feel the cold, hard resin plastic, it's just on the interior parts of the steering wheel. I think it looks really nice. If you've got $1,270 to spend and you want a bit of carbon fiber trim, go for it. I think it's great. And the same with the door sill guards, looks nice as well. And of course you've got the options here to have them lit up, and you can even have a personalized one where you can write your own Nick Murray is an awesome guy and have it lit up. This option doesn't always work out, and obviously you need to have it changed out when you go to sell the car because no one else wants your silly personalized inscription on their car. But yeah, people that spend this sort of money, I did this once. Well, I didn't do personalized, I did the lighting up door sill guards, and in the time I owned their car, not one single person ever noticed that I had that feature. $1,200 wasted. Learn from my mistakes. Don't get these silly options. And then owner's manual wallet and carbon fiber. $1,000. You know, it comes with a perfectly good fake leather wallet. It's all you ever need. Onto interior aluminium, or aluminum, as they say here in Fahrenheit land. Brushed interior aluminium, such a nice look as well. Really lightens the interior, particularly if you've got a black interior or a dark interior. This option gives the interior some contrast. And there are a bunch of other aluminium options as well. The PDK gear selector in aluminium actually gives the PDK little knob a completely different look. Raises it up to make it a taller knob, which some people do just because they don't like the shaver look. Personal preference, $700. And finally, we've now added pedals and footrest in aluminium. It's also a nice option that no one ever notices, but if you're into that sort of detail, there it is for $630, and door sill guards, and also the personalized, as we talked about in the carbon fiber. Stuff that no one ever notices, but if you really want to go nuts. And we're on the home straight. Audio and communication, now there's only 2 options. Everything else is included these days, which is good. And everybody argues about this. There's a lot of people that say you don't need any of these upgrades because it's a Porsche 911, it's a noisy car. But if you want an extra boost in the volume of your stereo, the Bose sound system will do that for you. I have had both the Bose and the Burmeister, however it's pronounced, I always get it wrong, in both my 911s, and I can say without doubt that Burmeister is a complete waste of money in the 911. And I know there's people that disagree with me because the people that buy it and they feel they need to justify this huge cost. But this is an upgrade for a Panamera or a Taycan. It is not an upgrade for the 911 for 2 reasons. The 911 is an incredibly noisy car. When you get out on the highway or you get into the back roads, you're hearing the engine, you're hearing the road noise, you just don't get the high fidelity that you should be getting out of this. It's loud, but it's fighting with all the noise of the car, so it is a pointless upgrade. And secondly, it is a bit of a rip-off an upgrade because they really only upgrade the speakers in the front of the car. If you notice, there's 2 small speakers in the rear seats. That is all the sound that's coming from behind you. It's all coming from the front. It is totally not worth $5,560. I know there's going to be people that argue with me, but trust me on this. It is a total waste of money, that option. Whereas the Bose, if you want to crank up your stereo and listen to your Billy Idol nice and loud, the Bose will do it for you. They upgraded this in 2016, extra 100 watts, and it's made a big difference. It is, if you want a louder stereo, that's the way to do it. You can also just get the standard stereo, and there's a bunch of third-party options out there for Porsche 911s. They are not cheap, but they do a better job than the Bose, but you need the standard in order to do the upgrades. So if you put the Bose in, it's much harder to get the upgrades. And then there's a bunch of transport and protection options, which I will not go through. But I will say the roof transport system, obviously if you're getting a coupe car, if you've got the roof transport system from the 991 generation, it will actually fit on the 992. It is 0.5 millimeter out, but it does fit. So don't bother buying that again if you've already got that. It will fit on. It has increased in price from $550 to $638. It is an excellent system. 250 kilograms per rack. It takes a lot of weight. Obviously, I've carried my sofa around on the roof of my 911 previously. It is cool. It allows you to have bikes and really turns your Porsche 911 into the minivan it's always wanted to be. It makes it a lot more usable, but obviously not for everybody. So yes, don't buy this again if you've already got the racks from the 991. So that's it. That's all of the options. I hope this has been useful to you all. If you've got questions, just enter them down below or email me on this address. As I've said in my previous videos, if you're looking for a discount on the car on a 911 and you're purchasing in the US, feel free to email me. I can check with my local dealer. They have preset discounts for my viewers because I send them a lot of business. But otherwise, yes, always feel free to email me. I don't always get to every email every day, so be patient or send it a second time. I will answer your questions if I can. And yes, best wishes with your purchase of your 911. Don't spend too much. The car's great just as it is without all these silly options. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for supporting my channel. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye then. And if you're wondering where to acquire the ridiculous t-shirts that I wear in my videos, they're all here in my store, all your favorites, including offensive stamps and my rapid dry towels as well. Yes, Nick Murray t-shirts, being a little inappropriate since 2016.